So before I start this video, I want to talk about something that's kind of been weighing on me a little bit and give you an opportunity to help if it interests you. But there's these two people that I know. I'll put a picture of them up in here. Kyle and Olivia. And these are some very fine people. They just got married last summer. I played for their wedding, as a matter of fact. And they haven't even been married a year. And what it amounts to is she grew up around here, so I've known her entire life. And he comes from Illinois and is a farmer, and I think also does like crop production or crop insurance stuff, you know. And she's a preschool teacher. But anyway, they got married last summer, and just a few weeks ago, he was in a horrible car accident, and he was the passenger in this car, is what I'm saying. So pretty well an innocent bystander. There's nothing that he could have done, you know, differently. Riding in a car in a horrible accident to which he ended up losing an arm. And I can imagine that that is probably going to be quite a hurdle to overcome. I know if it happened to me, it would pretty well probably ruin my life. I mean, I do a lot of stuff that takes two hands, so it's going to be a struggle, is what I'm saying. And a newlywed couple, and you know, trying to farm and all this kind of stuff, just something that isn't really fair. They shouldn't have to deal with this, and it really kind of bothers me, because you know as well as I do that there's going to be bills coming in, because neither one of them can work now, you know. She's staying with him up there at, they just moved him to like a rehab thing, and you know, he's obviously going to have a lot of stuff ahead of him to figure out how to do things, and won't be able to work 100% for a good long while. So there is actually a GoFundMe set up for them, and I'll put a link in the description of the video if that's something that interests you. You know, you always wonder when you give to a charity whether it's going to go to something that's actually worthwhile. Well, I think in this case it is. So, like I said, I don't want to turn into a, you know, advertisement or trying to push you to do something you don't want to do. But if that interests you, I'll put the link in there. They could definitely use support, because it's going to be rough, you know. I mean, they have a lot of support behind them, but you know how it is in the world we live in. It's not getting any cheaper. So, like I said, if that's something that interests you, I will put it in the description. It's just something that's been on my mind ever since it happened. And if I can help get the word out and get them some more support, that's a good thing. So, there it is. All right, welcome back. If you haven't seen my videos before, I'm Ross the Oliver Man, and today I'm going to take a minute to show you some things I got, and also I want to answer some questions. People have sent in emails, and I'm not very good about emailing back all the time. Sometimes I can't really explain it very good in email. I don't really like typing, so it's better to just videotape it and show you. And we're kind of running out of daylight, but we're going to try to plug through this and get as much done as we can. So we'll start by showing you the stuff that I just got earlier this afternoon and unloaded. And then we'll go on to stuff in the shed. And if I have to get a light out or something so we can see, we will do that. But let's go take a walk and have a look. I guess the first thing I'll show you, I forgot it was laying in the bucket of the tractor here, but I got this hydroelectric cylinder, probably from the Fleetline 3-digit era. It's a 4-pin plug. So anyway, fairly complete. I'm sure the hoses need replaced, but you can never have too many of those, so we'll experiment with that some other time, maybe on the other project that I had delivered. So let's go take a look at those. Oh, you know what's really terrible? I just remembered that I had the golf cart at the barn, and now I'm walking. What in the world? I should have taken that. Exercise is not for me. All right. Laying here in my pile of mess is a couple, 3, 4 weights. A nice base weight and some stack weights. Painted orange because they came off of an Alice Chalmers. What it amounts to is, I got this friend and he was wanting to get rid of these weights and that cylinder, and he was going to bring them to that tractor drive that I made the video on way back when. I'll put that link up in case you haven't seen that video. And just before that, he had a bad accident, I think it was a motorcycle accident, and so he was out of commission, could not do anything, and just recently has been able to get back up and start moving around. And in the meantime, more trouble, I guess, has come his way because he is going through a divorce. So that is not very pleasant, but we wish him well and everything he does on that deal. But anyway, he finally the other day, or today, it was actually today, he called and said, can I bring this stuff? And he said, I got something else for you besides the weights in the cylinder. And when he told me what it was, I said, absolutely, bring that too. So let's go take a look at that. Ta-da! Have a look at this little beauty. This is a 4240 plow, one that I did not have. And so I'm super pumped about this. I wasn't sure. He just said he had a 2-bottom Oliver plow, and I said, yeah, I'll take it. Never saw a picture of it. And then when he showed up with this, I was even more excited because it's not a duplicate. It's a 2-bottom 4240. There's even a tag on it, if you don't believe me. Probably can't read it in the dark, but there you go, 4240. And I'm sure it needs some attention, but it looks fairly complete. You know, you can tell where people have moved it with a loader. That seems to be a common theme. And handle suffered a loss, but kind of like that other one I bought where it had been reinforced, but it was already broken. You can see the old brake and the new brake, so we'll probably give it the same treatment we gave that 340 4-bottom plow. One thing I notice I'm missing, which I'm missing on a bunch of them, I need at least 2. If anybody out there has a parts plow or something, I've said this before, but I need that spring that hooks down here and goes up to the top of your handle. It's about, you know, yay long. So I really could use a couple of those now. I hate to part out a whole plow for one piece, but I'm not above doing that if I have to, I suppose. But he brought this and I was tickled to death for 75 bucks. So like I said, it needs work, but this is the place to be. It's in a happy place, so we're good there. I do need to he had another plow on there and I was so tempted to buy it, but I don't know. It was another 4340 3-bottom. I think his was in a lot better shape than the one I have, so I told him to take it home for now, and it would probably haunt me in my dreams until I finally end up buying it. But if I do that, then I'll probably sell the one I got because it's not quite as good as that one he had. But anyway, I can't complain about this. This is pretty cool. I mean, because you don't see, I don't know, for some reason I never see these around, a 4240, or I would have had one by now. So that's pretty good that one showed up in my driveway unexpected. So that'll be another project for another day. We'll put it out in the rusty plow row out there probably and start gathering parts for it. I need to look up in the parts book and see what the deal is with this hub. There's some goofy stuff going on it. I'm not exactly sure what's taking place here. But anyway, maybe it just needs a hubcap, I don't know. But it's definitely, at first I thought, well, maybe it was a mechanical lift plow and somebody converted it, but it is a hydraulic lift plow because it's got the piece on the frame here, unless somebody robbed that off of something else, but that's possible. It looks kind of homemade-ish on there, spacing, but I don't know. I got parts books, so we need to look it up and see what we have to do. But there it is. So pretty good deal for what I got in it. Okay, question number 1, and we'll just use this 1600 because it's outside here and it's more light. Somebody emailed me about, okay, do that then, tub of bolts, that's fine. I'm not trying to do something here, so make all the noise you want. Trying again, somebody emailed me about wanting to know how the battery box is hooked onto these tractors because they have some kind of cobbled up setup or they're missing pieces. So it's very simple, you see. If you have these L angle bracket things here that bolt to the mounting bolts for your step, you see there's one over there and there's one over here, comes down. Your battery box has a little pin on it sticking out, and the bottom part goes into that notch. The top part is held in that slot with these J bolts, and the factory ones are just like this one, where they're mostly a flat piece of stock and then it rounds off to like 1/4-inch bolt thread. I've made these before, you know, when I didn't have them. On the 1655, I found some at the auto parts store, but they're not quite the same looking, but they worked. I like the flat stock better than just getting like a round hook bolt or whatever. It seems like this holds better. I don't know. This is original, so that's what I like. But that's how that works. It's just as long as you're in this notch down here, you should be able to pull up and hook these. Quite honestly, growing up, we never had these really that tight. We never tightened them all the way down like that. The weight of the battery will actually keep them hanging in here like this most of the time. I mean, but I would tighten them down as much as you can. But anyway, you get what I'm saying. Because once you tighten it in there, you can access your terminals through this top plate. So it's not, you know, like you're going to be taking those loose all the time, only if you have to get the battery out. So that's how they work. If you're missing pieces, I'm sure you can find those at a salvage yard or on eBay or something. But you need those braces for the box to sit in. The boxes are being reproduced. Don't even fool with trying to weld or patch on them. They're cheap enough. Just buy new ones. Just get that money, pry it out of your wallet. I know it'll probably squeak as it's coming out, but if I can do it, you can do it, because I don't like spending money either. But some things in life aren't worth messing with, and one of them is battery boxes. They make them, just buy new ones. Oh, now would have been a real good time to have put up the lights that I bought to put in here, but didn't do it. Question number 2 from viewer was, he's having a very hard time wiring up a 60. He can't get it to run. And I've emailed back and forth until I don't really know how to explain it more. So we'll just try to look at this one and see if we can see it. It's not going to be ideal, especially in the dark and with all the sheet metal on, but we're going to give it a try. Do we even have the bolts tight? No, that's good, because we need to be able to see. Now, step 1, ignore your charging system. That has nothing to do with making it run. That is just about charging the battery. Forget it. Don't even worry about it. We don't need it right now. You want to get the tractor to run. Here's what you need. We have our wire from our coil, or from our distributor, going to our coil. That wire terminal should be the same. Like here, it's the negative one going to the distributor. Whatever the ground is of your battery, that needs to go to the distributor. So if you had positive ground, then the positive terminal would go to the distributor. But I have this set up as negative ground, so the negative post of the coil goes to the distributor. The positive post of the coil travels all the way up under the dash. And let's see if we can get a good picture of it. Alrighty. Now, can you see this? Maybe, maybe not. This switch right here that says 75 amps. Can you see that? 75 amps? Anyone? I don't know how to make it without glaring, but there it is. That is the switch that I use for ignition, because I have found that is the only switch that seems to hold up to vibration. That is a Grody product. You can get it almost anywhere. You can order it off the internet, whatever. I think I have it saved in my Amazon store. So that is ignition. To one side of the ignition, okay, let me try to get down here without falling over. One side of the ignition is hooked to our distributor. That is actually on this one, it's the top screw there. You can see it loops around, and then here is the, this is a Mickey Mouse operation I got going here. Seriously, this is not Emmy winning material, but whatever. Here's our wire from our distributor, okay? Our loom of wires. And you see it's coming into the top of that switch that I just said. So from your distributor to one side of your push-pull switch. The other side of your push-pull switch, ignore this wire my hand's on. The other side of it goes to power. In this case, it's hooked to the alternator, or the ammeter gauge there you see. You see that, how it's hooked up there? Not even tightly, it looks like. I did a terrible job and it still runs. So, anyway, if you have power to that switch, and then you should have power to your distributor, your coil. If you don't, then it's never going to run. But that's all you need to make it run. I don't even care where you hook this switch to. Like I said, as long as one side is going to 12 volts and the other side is going to your distributor, you should be able to have 12 volts at your coil and the tractor should run. That's all you need. I mean, that's literally all you need. Now, what's going on here in this Mickey Mouse setup, the other wire on this, which I cannot believe I don't actually have those tight. What a moron. The other side is just a jumper I made that's going to the battery, to the hot, where your hot cable is hooked onto the push button. So you just got to think about this now. Think about how this works. You got to get power from the battery to the distributor. So you got to get, you know, on your push button, it goes from there to your charging gauge, and then it goes to your switch, and then to your distributor. Now, the only reason I have it hooked up this way is because this tractor, I have a one-wire alternator on it. And what you have to have in order for this to work, to show up on the gauge, you have to run the alternator wire through the gauge. Otherwise, it will never ever show it's charging. On a one-wire alternator, the way it's set up is you just hook it right to the battery, and when you rev it up, it starts charging and your life is great. But there's no way to show that it's charging on the gauge because you wouldn't even run a wire to the gauge. But if you want it to, you have to run your wire through the gauge to the hot, and then it will show like it's charging. And that's all I've done here. So if the tractor doesn't run, it has nothing to do with the charging system. But you need to make sure you have a good wire from the battery, which is this here wire, going to that push button switch. It comes from the hot of that switch to the gauge, and there's a jumper to this ignition switch, and then it goes to the distributor, and your tractor runs, and your life is good. So that's all you need. You can do it in many different ways, but all you need to make it run is 12 volts right over here to this coil, and then it should run. If you don't, something else is wrong. You've done something wrong. What I would suggest, if you get into a situation where you don't know what to do, start eliminating things and go back to the point, you know, like right here. Hook a wire from right here to the battery. Try to start it. If it doesn't start, something's messed up over here. Bad coil. Point's bad. If it does run, then you know you need to go on down the line and figure out if it's your switch, if it's not getting power. You don't necessarily need a multimeter to do that, but a test light would sure come in handy so you can check where you have power and where you don't have power. But like I said, if you want to make a tractor run and you don't have a key or whatever, you need to just see what's going on. You can take a jumper wire and hook it right to the coil, to the battery, crank it over, and she's running. Good deal. I mean, don't get so caught up in it that you confuse yourself, because it's easy to do with wiring. But like I said, eliminate things, and then you'll know where your problem was. On the one that the guy had questioned about, he sent me some pictures, and he still had some of the original cloth-covered wire jumpers and stuff. And I would almost guess that that was part of his problem. You know, it's hard. I can't do it over a picture because I'm not there. But if you're rewiring a tractor, don't leave little ends of wire like that in place. Just replace it. Make it new so you know you don't have to worry about it. You know, but like I said, start eliminating things, because if it doesn't run when you put a jumper from the coil directly to the battery, then you've got other issues. And no amount of working on the dash is going to fix it to make it run if you can't make it run by jumping it from right here to here. So anyway, that is something. I hope it helped make sense to you, viewer. I can't remember who you are. I remember emailing you several times. But I hope that this makes you able to get it running. And I hope that you don't think that I'm being a jerk. I'm trying not to be. This is just the way that I am. I can't help it. So I'm not being angry or judgmental or anything. I'm just trying to explain this so that maybe it helps people. And I hope it helps you. So good luck. If you can't get it, send me another email and I'll try to answer your question from there. But that's about the best I can do as far as explaining things, because sometimes I'm not very good at it. But I hope that I got what was in my brain out where you can decipher it into something useful. All right, now before we go, I think we'll answer the $17 question. So make sure you have your pencils ready, and I will give you the answer. I've been asked a dozen times or more, did I get that combine home? The answer is not yet. I don't remember if I told the story or not, but what is happening is my neighbor ended up having a detached gooseneck, or a detached trailer for a semi. And he said he would haul it for me if I put the wood floor onto the trailer. It needed a new floor. He had all the lumber. All I had to do is saw it up and screw it down. So I bought the special self-tapping screws to do this job. We sawed the lumber. We got it laid in there. It was so cold that we couldn't stand it out there with the wind blowing. And he said, let's finish it another day. So that's where it stands. It's not been really warm enough weather to go back to it. So as soon as we get that done, one weekend, we will run over and get it, because we need to. The guy where it's at is selling his place, and so I got to get it out of there. So I'm just as motivated as you to get it home. Just be patient. I promise there will be a video when that comes out. So I will bring it home, and then we will play with it, look at it, figure out what we need, and get it ready, hopefully, to be able to harvest something in the fall, at least partly. So that's the story on that. I did not forsake it or forget about it yet. This trailer is my next plan. I guess it's plan B. Sometimes plan B is your option, but sometimes plan C is going to come into effect. And I'm not sure which plan C will be. There's a lot of people who want me to drive it home. I do not want me to drive it home because of the terrain between here and there is kind of treacherous for a ride in one of those combines. And then another version would be to go to U-Haul and rent a car dolly and pull it backwards. I'm not opposed to that. The guy that I got this from actually moved a combine that way, so it's very possible that that may end up being a plan if I can't get this detached thing going. But there should be no problem. It's just a matter of drilling the holes and putting the screws in, and then we can go. So hopefully soon that will take place. As always, thank you for watching. And if you haven't already, click the subscribe button. That way you'll be notified when more stuff comes out. Leave a comment. Hit the thumbs up. Say you like it. Say you don't like it. Anything you do helps promote this channel, and we could keep making more Oliver-themed videos. So, as always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.